Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mebois podcast, episode 16. I'm Josh.
And I'm live from New York.
It's Saturday
night.
And that's Ray. And today I thought I'd update mostly Ray because I don't think we really talked about this, but then also anyone out there who's listening over this great internet of ours. I'm having a situation, sort of a
crisis
of identity. Because your work sort of defines you. So basically, my where I work now, I had basically a contract for the past. I mean, I've worked there for about 6 years now, but this most recent contract was for a year, and is that a cat?
Yeah, I think
I didn't know you had a cat, right? Or is it just outside?
Well, I do have cats, but I don't know what the fuck's going on.
He's getting fucked or something.
They're either fighting or fucking, or both.
They're closely related.
I'm gonna just check this out because this sounds like pretty intense.
Take pictures.
We'll be right back.
Oh my God. It's attacking Ray. Folks, this may be the last episode featuring Ray.
Jesus Christ.
I heard some more sounds after you left.
Yeah, they were like really going at it. I sent the video, but by the time I started recording, they were like, they still had their teeth locked on each other, but they weren't like going, they weren't fighting.
Right.
But I sent you a video. Maybe we'll put it in the episode. I was like wondering, like, can Josh hear any of this? Because he's still going strong with his story. He's not distracted.
Yeah, that's definitely staying in.
All right. Continue before the. I forget what point you were at before the cats started fighting.
Cat startup. So basically, this last contract was for. Actually, no, I guess it was like for a year and a half or something. It should have been like for a year because it's a year and a half. But the way where I work is things happen very slowly with things like HR.
Mm-hmm.
And so the plan has been, as I've talked with the big boss, for me to transition into a new position, full time, not be a contract sort of thing. And so, I had to basically make up my own job description because when I came to this job, I sort of had to create the job because it wasn't really being done before what I was doing, and I basically do IT related things. So that position's in the works. The problem is we also have maybe like 4 or 5 other jobs that are currently like being like recruited for or whatever.
Yeah.
And HR has been centralized, so the only person working to do those jobs is like one person who's also doing everything else for a whole bunch of other departments. So it's taken a long time, long story short.
Yeah.
And so my contract ends on June 30th. And I guess that's tomorrow.
Isn't that?
Wait, is it tomorrow?
No, it's no. Wasn't that yesterday?
Oh, that June 30th is today. Oh God, I gotta go to work. No, so I'm done, and the problem was, well, okay, now I'm still waiting because I know the description for the job.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I made it, but I don't know what pay grade they're gonna assign to it, and so I don't know what they're gonna offer me. So I don't even know if I'll take it.
Right.
Meanwhile, I've also been doing work that is in that job description, not in my current job description. So obviously, I'm a little pissed about that. I haven't been paying whatever I'll be making for that job description during this time.
Right.
So the plan was in the interim to just put in a temp position so that I can continue work there. Just so that, I mean, I don't really care about the money right now. But
how much money, Josh?
Yeah, how much do you make? Just that's all. I'll convert it to rupees. But not like the real life ones, like the Zelda ones.
Is that what they're called in Zelda?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, isn't it rupiah for you?
Yeah, for me it's rupiah.
And then India's rupees.
Yeah, India's rupees.
I'm sort of a world traveler. Anyway, so yeah, basically there's going to be a temp position while we're waiting for the other one. Because another stupid thing that some places do, they have to do, is when you are going to hire a position, you need to meet certain criteria as far as like how long you've advertised the position and how many people you've interviewed for it. And so even if you have, and usually this is how it goes, you'll have someone internally that you want to hire, but you still make a show of it and create a job posting and interview other people who are never going to get the job, which is kind of fucked up.
I didn't even know that was
you just
a thing.
give it to the person you. Oh yeah. And not everywhere. Some places can just hire somebody and just be like, okay. But so that policy is in place. So, you know, even when the job comes back, it's not just going to be, okay, Josh has it, even though, you know, they've said, if you want this job, it's yours.
Right. But
I still have to interview for it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I don't so much mind interviewing for it. I think it's kind of a waste of time, and it's also a waste of other people's time who are applying to it.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. So the idea was to have a temp position in between so that they wouldn't be without, you know, the services I provide, and I wouldn't be without a job. Problem is, they took a while to even get the temp position up. So, and another thing is that the temp position also has to be interviewed for, which is really stupid. So I learned this past Friday, which was my last day under contract.
Right.
Yeah, this past Friday, my last day under contract. I was told that the job had been posted, and so I asked him. This is the big boss. I asked him, "Well, is it the actual job or is it the temp job?" And he says, "I don't know," because he didn't do the posting. So I went on, and it's the temp job. And I'm like, okay. So the temp job was posted that I have to apply for an interview for. Meanwhile, this is my last day. So there's no way, like, I'm going back to work on Monday because those things don't happen that quick.
Right.
And then also, I saw that the temp job which has all these new responsibilities as I've described them for my current job, is paying the same, basically the same uh, rate as what I'm making now. And so I was like, well, what? Like, I can understand they don't know that, because they don't assign the pay grade. HR does that, so they don't really know what the position would be making. But it's sort of like, I didn't say as much, but it's sort of a slap in the face. It's sort of like, hey, take this temp job because we want someone working, but also do more responsibilities without getting paid for them.
Right.
And also, it's a temp job, so you won't be working full time, so you can't live off this. So it's kind of, I don't know, it feels a bit like a fuck you. So I talked to him about it. And I just told him, like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to apply for this. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Because I kicked his desk over. Or I did like one of those, like a scissor kick. Where, like, you kick your leg up and you smash it down. And you I just told him, like, I think I need to value my time more than this. And it's annoying because, like, I still told him, like, I would be interested in the actual position if I actually, once the details are out and, you know, whatever, but it's like, I don't know when that's going to be. So how long am I going to underpay myself to do this job temporarily?
Yeah.
Because discussions about this started, I mean, probably at least 4 or 5 months ago. So this is slow going.
Yeah, it's really slow. Yeah, you were telling me about this process a while back. I remember that.
Yeah.
And
because I finished school in January.
Yeah.
And a little bit after that is when I started having discussions about this. So yeah, it's been kind of frustrating because on one hand, like I said, I don't want to waste my time and do work I could be paid more for and full time, just to stick around. But at the same time, I don't want to throw away the investment that I put in to guarantee me the job if I want it.
Right. Well, when you told the guy that you wanted to value your time more than what they're currently valuing your time, what did he say?
Basically, he told me he didn't know why the rate was what it was, because I asked him, like, what's the justification behind having this rate?
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't know, because he didn't make the posting or whatever. Right. Also, another thing that I brought up was that the posting said that I would be reporting to my old boss, who I specifically said that I would not work with. Then he said, "Oh, never mind that. Like, it's not. Don't worry about it." That's basically what he said about every single one of those points. He said, like, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like, yeah, no, it sucks because, like, we have new people coming in.
Yeah.
To the building that I work in, and so these are people, like, I would need to, like, set up, and, you know, I need to set up their computers. I need to set up their phones. I need to set them up with printing. I've got to do all that shit, but, like, I'm just not gonna be there. And so that's actually stressing me out a bit more than I thought it would, even though it hasn't even been any time at all. But yeah, so Friday, I just cleaned out my entire office, and I actually went out to, like, this jazz event. But I think I brought it up previously on the podcast, but there's this jazz event with, like, free drinks. So it's like, okay, can't go wrong. So went there, got a bit buzzed, came back to the office, picked up the stuff, and walked home with it. That shit was heavy. So I was like a semi-drunk man stepping onto the subway with a big bag of stuff and my office plant in my hand that I brought home, which is now sitting on my windowsill.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, basically I wanted to leave it in my office, in a state where I wasn't going to be influenced in terms of what I was going to do by the fact that, like, oh, I have stuff still in my office or whatever.
Yeah.
So at this point, I don't have to go back for anything. I'm sort of just trying to decide what I'm going to do, because I told him like I was dissatisfied with all these different things.
Yeah.
And I felt like it wasn't going anywhere. To which he said, we've done all we can. We just sort of have to wait for HR, which I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me about someone else who's working there who was in the U.S. on a visa.
Yeah.
He had to let him go, which means that he won't be able to stay in the U.S. So it's sort of like, yeah, people have it worse than me. I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just a weird position. But it was very surreal to bring like all my shit back home. Especially the plant. That plant was like from early on, like 5 years ago or something. Because when I was still in college early on, I took like a horticulture class. And that was like my one plant from that survived. It's actually survived this long. So let's see. Maybe if the plant dies, then I won't go back.
It was a horticulture class?
Yeah. Actually, I feel like I told you about it.
Might have.
I took horticulture. I took horticulture one semester, and then another semester I took plant science, which are basically the same thing. For a while at work, I was known as the plant guy because I was taking care of all the plants during that time.
Hey, look, it's plant guy.
that was said to me.
Oh my god. Maybe it's good that you're not
going back there. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. And I told as much. I was like, I told him all those things or whatever, and I just said, and he's actually going on vacation for this week. So he's not going to be around. And I wasn't told by the person who was posting the job, which I believe was my old boss, because she doesn't like me very much now.
Yeah.
I wasn't told that it was posted. He told me about it.
Yeah.
So I won't. Even if they do post it full time, I doubt she's going to tell me about it. I'm going to have to hear it through him. So I don't know.
Now you have free time to watch one of these movies. Any of these movies that are out.
Now I have free time to get depressed. Well, did I tell you? I went to the theater the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So there's this this small. It is a chain, but it's a pretty small theater. The town over from me. It's maybe about like a 50-minute walk or something.
15 or 50?
50, like a little less than an hour, basically.
Okay.
Walk from me. It's really small, and there's like never anybody there. It's just kind of nice sometimes. And so I went and watched Dead Don't Die. I don't know if you've heard of that one. I certainly hadn't.
Is that the one with Kylo Ren?
Yes.
Okay.
Adam Driver.
Yes, that's his name.
Adam Driver. It had Bill Murray.
So is it a comedy horror type thing?
Yeah. I mean, it's not really at all a horror in any real sense of the word.
Is it like those Bruce Campbell movies?
I mean, I wouldn't insult Bruce Campbell that much.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and I think like I guess you're talking about like what is that? The Living? No, not The Living Dead.
The Something Dead.
Is it Living Dead?
I think it is Living Dead.
No, not Night of the Living Dead.
Just look up Bruce.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead.
just make sure so I don't sound like an asshole. Yeah, Bruce Campbell. I haven't seen the newer Evil Dead, so I can't speak about that one. But yeah, I like the old Evil Dead movies. And those still hold on to the element of horror, though.
Oh, okay.
I think this one was absolutely more just like completely deadpan, sort of. I guess it's a sort of a parody of like zombie movies.
Is it like you ever see Zombieland? Is it more like that?
Yes and no. I don't know. It's like, honestly, I didn't like it very much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think it even really knew what it was. Like, because so there's moments where Adam Driver will be like, well, basically throughout the movie, he's talking about like, oh man, this isn't going to end well. And so Bill Murray, they're both police officers. Bill Murray eventually asks him towards the end of the movie, he's like, why do you keep saying that? You've been saying that since the beginning. And Adam Driver says, well, because I read it in the script. So like, there's a lot of moments like that, which like,
so like self-aware type things.
A self-aware. Yeah, it's a little self-aware. I don't know. It's like, it's very self-referential. Like, immediately they kind of know that it's zombies, which is kind of an interesting twist if they did it better, I think.
Yeah.
Because kind of right away they're just like, oh, these are zombies. We got to shoot them in the head, whatever. But it was very much like, I don't know. It was weird. I think a lot of parts were supposed to be funny and they weren't to me.
Yeah.
There was one part that I actually laughed a little bit at, and that was when the first zombies appear and they kill these two people at like a diner. This happens in like a small town. So, nothing bad ever happens there, sort of thing. No crime.
Right.
At this small diner, they find the bodies of these two people who've been killed by zombies. And so, like, the police officers show up, Bill Murray and Adam Driver. They go in, and so Bill Murray goes in. He's like, oh, comes back out. He's like, oh my God, what happened to him? An animal attack? Oh, I don't know. And then another person comes in. I'm like, oh, and they come back out and talk to the other guys. They're like, oh my God, what happened? An animal attack? I don't know. And then Adam Driver goes in and he looks at the bodies and he just goes, yuck. So at that part, I laughed a little bit. But outside of that, I don't know. It was kind of a weird one. I think they were just trying to make fun of a couple different types of stereotypical zombie movies.
Mm-hmm.
So you had like the loner out in the woods who was knowledgeable, and then
I saw the cast. That was Tom Waits.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, Tom Waits.
Yeah, I just said his character was a hermit, so I also like. I guess that's pretty perfect casting, I guess.
And then you've got like the townspeople, and you got the police force. So it's all like very stereotypical. The female police officer is just hysterical the whole time, like illogically so, which I think was like a parody and not just bad writing.
Yeah.
But I think that sort of sums up the problem I had with the movie, is that I didn't really know if they were really actually being kind of clever or if they were just trying to be clever in a shit way. Because I don't think any of it was like sincere trying to make a zombie movie. I think it was all definitely like making a commentary on it, but I don't know. But this movie certainly wasn't advertised because I hadn't heard of it. The only reason I knew was because I looked at the theater's website, and that was like the one movie I thought, okay, maybe I'll watch this one.
Yeah.
And so it was really funny because, I mean, this theater usually doesn't get too much traffic anyway.
Yeah.
It was like an 8 o'clock show or something, and I went to the theater, I was the only one there the whole time.
In the whole theater?
Yeah, I mean it's a small theater, but still,
Yeah.
I was the only one in that theater. In fact, I didn't see anyone else in like the main area or going into any of the other uh, theaters either, because they got like multiple screening rooms or whatever. So that's kind of funny, but I sort of like that about that place, that it's like super empty. I don't know how they're still in business. Maybe they have good nights.
Is it like an indie place?
Not really. I'd say, well, because it is part of a chain, but I think they try to do a lot of like sort of like Criterion kind of stuff. So like they try to do kind of like old classy movies sometimes. I think they have like a club who does that kind of shit. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wanted like a movie going experience, so I fucking showed up. I showed up in it's all basically like high school students working there, I guess. So like the girl who's working the ticket counter, when I showed up, she was over at the snack counter just talking with the other person. And so like I walk in and I like point to the ticket counter and I'm like, hi. And then she comes over and I get the ticket or whatever. And then I just got a fucking large popcorn, which I shouldn't have done because that thing was fucking massive. And yeah, I had a weird interaction with, so like I was waiting until the end of the credits. I just felt like it seemed like the type of movie that would have something post credits. I don't know.
Iron Man shows up.
Yeah. And so I was like sort of waiting for the end credits or whatever at the end, and there was nothing. So I'm like, okay. So as I'm walking out the hall, you know how they have like usually like a thin exit way out of there.
Yeah.
That rounds a corner. As I'm walking out there, I hear like it's like this little ding. I'm like, what the hell is that sound? And then after the ding, one of the employees comes in to, I guess, like clean out the trash or whatever. And so like I almost run into him, and he's like, "Oh, I hope you enjoyed your movie." And I was like, "Yep, all by myself." I just left. Girl at the snack counter said good night. I'm like, good night. It was a very odd experience, but
it sounds like an indie comedy horror movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie itself, I'd say, is definitely indie. It's by some guy that I don't know who he is, and I don't even really feel like typing the name of the movie to say it now. But during the scene where Adam Driver's saying like, "Oh yeah, I read it in the script," Bill Murray's like, "You got the script?" And he's like, "Yeah." The whole script? Yeah. Well, I only got the parts with my lines. And then he says basically that the director's name is an asshole. So it's like, I feel like that's not funny. Like after you laugh about it, like, because I get what they're doing. Like, oh, I got the script. That's pretty funny, haha. But then it's gonna be like, oh, this director's an asshole. Oh wait, that's me. Wink, wink. Like, yeah, I get it, dude. I don't know.
It's I don't know, the fourth wall breaking.
It has to be done the right way.
Yeah.
And sparingly.
Yeah, if you do it too much. I was gonna bring. Have you asked? I was gonna ask. Have you seen Life After Beth?
I mean, that was a movie from a bit ago, right?
A few years ago. It's Aubrey Plaza and Dane DeHaan.
I'm not sure if I actually saw it. I know what it is.
I
can't remember if I saw it. Yes, I've seen this.
Oh, yeah, because I guess it was a similar movie going experience for me. My aunt wanted to take me and my cousin to go see that movie, just because she's like a huge movie fan, so she loves going to the movies, and she had heard that Anna Kendrick was in this movie, and me and my cousin both really like Anna Kendrick. So we're getting ready to go, and my cousin's like, "Yeah, I'm not going," because I can't remember why he decided not to go. I think it was because the movie was in in like downtown New York, and he didn't feel like going all the way down there, so we had to go all the way down to downtown New York. Uh, my aunt and I know nothing about this movie.
Right.
Like, all I know is Anna Kendrick shows up at some point.
Great reason to go.
Yeah. But the funny thing was, we sit down and the ads start playing and the trailers start playing, and it's an indie movie theater. And we sit down and there's like me and my aunt and maybe four other people in the movies, and uh, the commercials start, and suddenly the sound system just like breaks, and all you hear is. So me, me and my are like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we went all the way down here. The sound system's not working, and it just I guess all these things like later added on, because once the movie started, we were laughing the entire time. I think because of just
How bad everything was.
how bad everything was to get there and everything. The movie's fine. It's not a great movie, but it has
No,
its
I mean,
moments.
Yeah, it's pretty like generic. It's like a generic romantic comedy, but then put a zombie in it.
Yeah. So she was worried about falling asleep because I think we watched a 10 o'clock showing. But she really, like, because of all that, ended up watching the whole movie. And then we get to one scene towards the end when the zombie apocalypse is fully broken out, and you have the the Dane DeHaan character's brother, who's played by the dude from what's that crime show with what's it called? Criminal Minds. The nerdy dude from Criminal Minds, Matthew Gray Gubler. He's he's like a
Google.
he's like a loser cop when the movie starts.
Yes.
But once the apocalypse break out, he becomes like a sort of badass. And so Dane DeHaan comes home and everything's in chaos, and Matthew Gray Gubler's like, oh, we gotta go. And then you see an old lady in the back, and then she just goes, "Excuse me, young man," and Matthew Gray Gubler just shoots her in the face.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Dude, I almost choked on my drink, and my aunt laughed so loudly. We ended up having like a really good time watching that movie, just because of everything that was happening prior to it. It really had nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah,
except for that one scene.
Your theater experience can definitely affect it.
Yeah, for sure.
I was looking at the ratings here for Life After Beth, and they're pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like a 5.6 or something.
Yeah. So like Life After Beth, 5 out of 10, which I actually appreciate, because like I feel like mediocre movies should be at about a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before. Like, people tend to skew up, so mediocre is like 7, which shouldn't be the case. 7 should be like pretty good, actually.
7 is like, to me, I mean, I feel like 6 is usually solid, but not spectacular at all.
Well, 6 should be above average.
Yeah, 6 is above average. It's like a genuinely solid movie with a good amount of flaws, basically.
Right. But how it tends to be is no one ever gives, like, I mean, generally, people obviously do, but nobody ever gives like 1, 2, 3s or 4s. So it's basically, the scale is just 5 to 10, more or less. It's just so stupid. So yeah, it's nice to see that, like, okay, pretty generic movie, 5 out of 10, makes sense. But this Life After Beth, I hardly remember it, but it is way better than The Dead Don't Die.
Is it? Dead Don't Die has better ratings though, right?
I don't know. Let's see.
No, you have to Google it. It's got a 6.
The director is Jim Jarmusch. Yeah, it's like marginally better. It's 6 out of 10 on IMDb as compared to 5.6.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, Selena Gomez was in this for some reason. She played one of the stereotypical teenagers who come into town.
Mm-hmm.
right before the zombie apocalypse or whatever, and they fucking
They have a few like pretty big names. Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover. They got, I don't know how you say his name. Reza?
oh yeah, RZA. Yeah,
RZA?
it's like RZA is your name.
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, she was funny. Not really, but like, you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, you could say, right, like the slightly higher ratings, like you would say, like, oh, but the dead don't die. You know, it's more of a thinking man's movie, but it's like not really, because like Life After Beth doesn't take itself seriously at all.
No.
I feel like in its parody, this movie takes itself seriously, but it is not an effective parody, in my opinion. Also, like the zombie apocalypse in this movie is caused by what they call polar fracking, which is like fracking that's done at both poles of the Earth.
Okay.
And so that sets the Earth off its axis, and so it spins differently. So like the days are longer, and everything's just weird, and somehow that makes the dead rise. Anyway, there's like an environmental message in it, which it kind of seems at first that they're just doing it as a goof, just like everything else.
Yeah.
But then on the radio, they have people debating, and you have scientists who just say, "Oh, this isn't possible. You know, climate change isn't real." But the thing is, everyone in this small town, USA, who would generally, I would think, people in small town USA, they don't believe in climate change generally. If I'm going to generalize,
yeah.
Generally, if I'm going to generalize, like they're not going to believe in climate change.
Yeah.
Generally, if I'm generalizing, and
generally speaking, in general.
In general, yeah. But every single character in this movie who hears the radio, when they hear someone downplaying global warming or whatever, they scoff and they turn the radio off or whatever. So like everyone in this movie believes in climate change in small town USA for some reason because the director does. Which is just, I don't know. It felt like the commentary was, it felt sort of like a 10-year-old trying to be knowledgeable or whatever, but still holding up the option. They could still exercise the option of, oh, I'm just joking around. So it just, I don't know. It fell flat for me. Anything else interesting about it? I guess one kind of neat thing, although it ends up not being neat at all. When the zombies come back to life, they gravitate towards the things that they did during, like they liked during life. So like you had zombies like playing tennis and shit like that. So I mean that was kind of interesting and funny. But then that's used later to like all these teenage zombies are just walking around on their cell phones. And it's like, oh, these kids. It's like, what the fuck is that?
So it's like a. I mean, people call people
these
who
kids
are
are
always
zombies already.
Yeah, exactly.
And so at the end of the movie, I think it's the hermit who's doing a voiceover or whatever during like the final confrontation, which I think is ironic, but I'm not sure. Which is, the problem I keep saying with this movie is that he's saying maybe we were the zombies all sort of thing. And I think it's being like a parody of those sort of monologues saying that, but I don't know. And maybe that's a problem with me and not the movie, but I don't trust Jim Jarmusch to make effective parody. I would not see it. That's my recommendation, folks. I mean, it came out like 2 weeks ago, but if you have, well, it must be out of theaters already, actually. So never mind. Maybe it's in smaller theaters still.
It's definitely a very different movie-going experience to the one I just had with Toy Story 4.
Toy Story. Yeah, was there a Make America White Again hat in there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Unless Woody had some sort of message. No, his boots don't say Andy anymore. It says
Well, no, they got painted over.
it says like Trump or something.
It says build that wall.
Yeah.
You got a friend in me. Was that song in it?
It was actually.
Pandering assholes.
They definitely they would definitely want you to feel nostalgic in the first part, in the opening parts of the movie.
Before you go on,
Yeah.
I just want to say it was a strange phenomenon in that I found out, and maybe other people had this experience as well. Please tell us if you did. I found out that Toy Story had come out after it came out, and like not through any advertisements. Like someone, I think I saw a meme about a fork, which is kind of funny to say.
Oh yeah, I think you were telling me about this.
So it's super bizarre that I never heard anything about a Toy Story movie coming out, which is like crazy big, you'd imagine. And I didn't hear anything about it until after it was already out. That's kind of wild. Anyway,
I don't know. I don't know if they really went all out in terms of marketing.
They must have not,
because there were like a couple trailers and some interviews with Tom Hanks that came out. He was promoting the movie, and even then, he doesn't really get that into it. It's making money though. I was just looking at an article. It's leading the box office from like movies that are currently in box office. It's still number one, which makes sense because nothing else is really big enough to overtake a Toy Story movie. But I enjoyed the movie. I don't know, Pixar. I can't really think of a Pixar movie that's bad. I mean, a lot of people had concerns about the movie just because it's why revisit this trilogy when it was ended pretty well. Each movie was really good, ended on a really sentimental note with Andy saying goodbye and whatnot. So while I did like it, it still felt like an unnecessary movie.
You're unnecessary. That's what the executives say to you after making that review. Hey man, I think Toy Story 3 should have ended with them going into the furnace. I'll be honest with you. That was 3, right?
That was 3, yeah.
Even what better way
that scene was
to tell you that these are just toys.
That scene was like super emotional. And then you had to watch Andy say goodbye to them right after that. Oof.
I mean, I like the theme of having to give up these material possessions, these toys that you had as a kid because you want to hold on to them.
Right.
But you're not gonna use them as an adult.
Yeah.
Generally. So like it's best to move on and give them to someone else so they can enjoy them and they can have those memories with them. Yeah. I like that theme. The problem is it doesn't work when they're sentient.
Yeah.
Because then you're just giving away living things and it's weird. And you can't destroy them. Otherwise you're murdering. So yeah, Toy Story is a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a good lesson to learn just about growing up and whatnot and things you have to leave behind.
Which would be a great time to introduce death in the furnace, but they didn't.
Instead, they were saved by the 3 little aliens. The Claw!
I didn't really like when the aliens started flossing, though. That was kind of out of place.
They start flossing?
I don't think so. What kind of memes were in this one? That they was was Andy watching Ninja play Fortnite?
No, I mean,
Was Andy even in this one?
Andy's only in the beginning when they're doing flashbacks and whatever.
Andy's in the beginning beating his wife as a grown man now.
No, he was still a kid.
Still a kid. I thought he was in college in the third one.
Flashbacks.
Oh, flashbacks.
Yeah.
So he was getting beaten by his dad.
Did we ever meet Andy's dad? I feel like we didn't.
Single mom.
Okay.
Woody fucked her.
What was I gonna say? Well, like I don't really want to spoil it. I don't know if you're planning to watch it or not, but
I'm not. But I mean, probably shouldn't spoil it for anyone else listening.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, like at its core, it's still a good, still a good story. Still touches on all the Toy Story themes. I guess one thing I will say that kind of disappointed me was this movie is pretty much just about Woody.
Okay.
You don't see much of Buzz. You don't see much of Jesse or any of those side guys. It's about Woody, basically. It's
What about the prospector?
What happened to him at the end of 2? He got shipped to...
because he was an evil guy in 2, right?
Yeah, he got shipped to some other country, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it was. I just found out he was voiced by Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, that part of it was kind of, I was hoping to see more of. I mean, at the very least, I was hoping to see more of a Woody and Buzz story.
Right.
Because that's what it's been about, basically. But no, it's still good.
So let me ask you a question. Did they go too silly with the fork character?
No, actually, so that was another concern that I think a bunch of people had. They felt like maybe this fork character would be too annoying.
Yeah.
No, he's actually, I actually kind of like the fork character. He's pretty funny. He's not super annoying. Like in the trailers, they make him seem like a really dumb character.
Yeah.
But they give him a couple layers in the movie, and they make him kind of, he's still kind of dumb, but it's like they give him a certain charm and sweetness
sort of
to
like
him.
Olaf.
Actually, yeah, that's probably that's oh, that wouldn't be a bad comparison, comparing him to Olaf.
What's his name?
Forky.
Forky?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because he's named
I
by
actually worked on
Bonnie.
this movie. Is Bonnie the little sister?
Bonnie's the little girl that Andy gives all of them to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is he sort of like, he's a toy that's been made out of just a fork, basically?
Yeah, so basically in the movie, Bonnie has her first day in kindergarten, and she's a shy kid, and she's a little overwhelmed with meeting new people. So the first connection she makes on her first day in school is that she makes this toy. And now this toy is her favorite toy. So Woody's all like, we gotta protect him at all costs because this is the one thing that's gonna make Bonnie happy for a little while. It's her one.
So Woody's looking out for Bonnie.
Woody's looking out for Bonnie, which has always been consistent with Woody's goals. Woody's goal is always to do the best for his kid.
Right.
So that aspect of it was cool.
I'm not crying, by the way.
They also introduce a bunch of new characters, and again, that's part of why we don't see a lot of the OG characters, because
Right.
I feel like what they're doing is they're setting up more Toy Story stories.
Yeah, the Toy Story cinematic universe.
Essentially, just it's not going to be about the OG guys anymore. So they gotta dedicate a lot of screen time to these new characters.
You got a friend in me.
Keanu Reeves is in it.
You're bullshitting me.
No, I'm not.
People don't realize what they're doing to this man. If they keep doing this, then someone is going to come out and say something about him that's going to ruin his career. That's just how these things go. He's in too many things now. It's going to happen.
It is crazy, like how he's like, look, he's always been a popular actor. Yeah, he's always been a movie
reached
star.
Critical mass right now.
But it's insane how, and he's always been like a meme too.
Yes. And he's reached peak meme status.
He really has. Like, where do you go from here?
Down after someone makes some false accusations about you, or true ones.
Or true ones. Yeah.
So what was he playing?
He's a Canadian stuntman toy.
Is Keanu Reeves Canadian?
I think he is Canadian. Let me see. Yeah, Canadian American. Born in Beirut.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. Is that his first line?
Yeah. Wake the fuck up, samurai. We've got a city to burn.
That's funny. So there's no Buzz at all. Like, you don't even see him once.
No, you do see him. Buzz has lines. He contributes to this movie. It's just that he's definitely not. Focus. Yeah, he's not a main character anymore. Barely a side character. That applies even more so for the likes of, Jesse and everyone else. Slinky, Mr. Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head.
All the boys.
Yeah, all the boys.
What about Boy Peep?
Bo Peep. Bo Peep is probably one of the best things about this movie.
I'm sorry, it just struck me how ridiculous it is to hear adults talking about Toy Story. Bo Peep was probably the most important part of the story, I think.
Like, they finally gave her character a bit of depth, and they made her a cool character. Cause
it's like, why do you look after the sheep? Because my parents are dead.
You can kind of understand why Woody and Bo Peep had like a sort of it was always hinted at. There's no depth in Woody and Bo Peep's relationships in the old movies. It's just like kind of a flirty thing. Like, oh, okay, these two characters like each other just cause.
Yeah.
But no, the Bo Peep character was definitely one of the best things about the movie.
Finally, some good female leads. Bo Peep.
I think if you see the movie, I think you'll get what I'm saying.
Oh, did you hear about that that student who went missing?
No.
So there was this article that annoyed me because basically there was a student who got back into town after she went to like her grandma's funeral or something.
Yeah.
And she took a Lyft from the airport, and then
Lyft as in the app?
Yes.
Okay.
Get your European ass out of here. She took a Lyft for 3.4 kilometers, and then she paid for her TV license. So she took a Lyft from the airport to somewhere else, and she went missing after that, basically. The annoying thing was the article in the title says, like, basically, like, oh, missing student, like, last took Lyft or whatever. It's like it's got Lyft right in the title of this missing student, basically insinuating that it was the Lyft driver.
Yeah.
The annoying thing was that article in itself already confirmed that Lyft confirmed they dropped her off and picked up other people and went about their business. She went with somebody else.
Right.
But they still included Lyft in the article for clicks. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, that's so... I mean, it worked because I think that's probably why I clicked on it. But, like, it's like, how scummy is that? Like, I feel like Lyft could have a case for for saying that's like defamation, basically. Because you're implying, because like of stories like that with like Uber and whatnot of drivers like that, you're just like basically defaming the company by doing that. And also you're putting some heat on this random. I don't think they named the driver. I don't think they had the name of the driver, but you're putting heat on this random driver who just dropped her off. But anyway, yeah, they dropped her off at a park at like 3 a.m. and she met up with somebody else and he killed her. So that's the story.
So the person she met up with was the one that killed her?
Yep.
Jeez.
I think he was ex-army.
I'm surprised that's not the part they went to try to politicize.
Yeah. I don't think it was known at first when they first publicized it.
Uh-huh.
But even in later articles, they still included the Lyft thing, which was kind of annoying.
The army is killing our women.
It's a government mandated program. But yeah, so like when they got it off of phone records, basically that, that they had been messaging, and also they like geolocated him and her in the park within like 1 minute of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like pretty obvious. And then when they went to his apartment, neighbors said that the other day he had been burning something in the backyard, and they found, yeah, he was smoking up, and that's enough crime already.
Is weed making us violent?
Is weed making the army kill our women?
Using
Lyft has something to say about this. Yeah. Does Lyft endorse murder? It picks up murderers and takes them where they want to go.
It also picks up the victims and takes them to the murderers.
Lyft is an enabler. I bet there has been articles like that.
Probably.
But yeah, so they found like he had burnt some of her belongings, and they also found like human female tissue. I don't know if they ever found the body yet.
Like Kleenex, you mean?
Yeah, tissue. They found his cum rags. He was burning them in the back. That would smell terrible.
Oh God.
And apparently, like very close to that too, he was like advertising on some like trade site or whatever that he was trying to get rid of a mattress. Which, like, okay, red flags there. Probably the mattress he killed her on.
And they blame the site he's using.
Yeah. Classic accomplices. But yeah, that's what annoying, because like I still get that from people where they're sort of like it sort of feels like early internet like don't talk to people on the internet kind of fear. Yeah, fear mongering is a good word for it. Where people with ride sharing, they're sort of like, they think that's like the most dangerous thing or something. Like, if anything, it's pretty much way safer than any other form of transportation you could take.
Yeah.
I guess besides like driving yourself. Obviously, like driving in general is not safe anyway. So, but like as far as that goes, like you're probably safer doing that than anything else, because they have safety features that are tracking you the entire time. You have the ability to cancel the ride. You have the ability to call for. They have all these built-in features, and people are discouraged from doing anything because if they do something to you, they're going to be caught, guaranteed.
Yeah, because
so like
if they go missing, and there's a record of you being in someone's car.
Yeah, it's so easy to find out now, and I mean, sadly, this has happened because there have been incidents where it hasn't been as easy to find out, and so they've sort of had to focus more on safety. But like, people still act like it's some sort of like crazy thing, like, oh my God, you're getting in the car with a stranger. It's like, I mean, you're basically getting in the car with a robot, more or less.
That's what taxis are, man.
Yeah, that's what taxis are, except people don't know where you are. And nobody knows who your taxi driver was. And yeah, it's just so silly. So that's why that article annoyed me. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
I mean, clickbait still.
It's funny because I'm playing LA Noir, and
Mm-hmm.
like the main killer is, well, I guess it's the Black Dahlia killer. A lot of cases are about the Black Dahlia, and I'm just like, oof, man, did women have it really rough back then? Because they just go home late, and
Get
some guy
beaten.
just fucking clobbers them with some piece of metal.
That's what happened to all women back then.
Yeah, every single one of them. And it's really funny because they really try to point out how misogynistic uh, the culture was, I guess, back then.
Yeah.
So your guy at some point is paired. Did you ever play LA Noire?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's his name? Galloway, I think. The other
Mm-hmm.
detective, the older guy. He's like a guy who's been married 3 times, and every time you're about to go investigate one of these murders where it's a woman, and he's like, well, she probably didn't shut up, and her husband just fucking hit her or something like that.
I mean, one thing I do like about LA Noire, and trying to word this so it doesn't sound bad, they don't really pull punches, really.
No, it's just I feel like it's a genuine representation of what it was like. Sure, it could be exaggerated, maybe it's not, but it feels real.
Yeah. Because like what annoys me more than anything is when you have to have. I mean, Cole Phelps is sort of like this. I mean, you can sort of choose how Phelps reacts to things, but
Hmm.
not really to an extreme. What annoys me is when you have a period piece game and the main character has to be the one who says, "Isn't that wrong?"
Yeah.
It's sort of like, well, yes, but I mean, it's kind of convenient that the main character in all these games has to be that person. It's like you can't look at this world without saying constantly, "This is wrong. This is wrong." It's like we get it.
Yeah,
So Eleanor is kind
he's a
of good with
little
that.
yeah, he's a little more woke than the others.
Yeah.
Like
Which I mean, I understand you don't want to make your main character an asshole.
yeah, because well, especially since it's a period piece, that's the I guess that's one of the easiest ways to make you relate to your character.
Yeah.
But they had like a flashback scene when he was in the army, and he was being respectful to the Japanese soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone else is like, "I'm here to kill Japs, man."
He said,
And
"Ah, konnichiwa." He pulled his eyes apart.
it's like, what did you name your Tamagotchi?
It's like, what is that?
But no, he as
Cole Phelps
his
is a racist time traveler.
yeah, as his fellow soldiers are like talking shit about the Japanese. Cole is just like, hey man, they're just following orders. I actually respect the Japanese. They're because they respect order
Uh-huh.
and things like that. So he's
That's why I
definitely
became a detective.
yeah, he's definitely way more woke. But I don't think it's overdone.
No. Yeah, I remember never really feeling like, okay, they're overdoing it. Some characters, they do overdo it.
Yeah,
And I mean, there definitely were people like that during the time.
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
not saying that everybody was just a monster, but I think people take the convenient route. Just be like, oh, the players don't want to play a racist, so let's make them this one shining beacon of hope, and everyone else is terrible.
I feel like in general, I feel like Rockstar's pretty good at capturing the period of when their game is set.
You got Red Dead.
Yeah, and like with Red Dead, I mean, they have people of color in their gang, but no one in the gang really cares.
Well, the one guy's racist.
Yeah, the one guy's racist.
My brother just started playing it the other night.
Did he? Yeah, you have the
Although
one guy.
they tone down the language, the
Yeah, they
language
don't.
of racism.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. Yeah, yeah. There's actually not a lot of cursing in Red Dead, which I find pretty funny.
There was a good bit in the first one,
There's a little bit, but I think they say
but mostly
shit.
like small stuff.
Yeah, they say shit and stuff,
So
but
like,
they don't really. I feel like there was like a couple times where they said fuck.
get on, you damn nag.
You're okay, boy.
And we're talking about his horse, just so that's clear.
uh,
John Marston is a terrible racist, but God, everybody loves him. But yeah, I mean that's also one of the funnier things about LA Noir is when you just go on a mission with somebody or you bring somebody back to the station, and someone's just like, "It was the Mexican, obviously."
yeah, they probably didn't use the word Mexican back then.
Yeah, I remember I was watching. I don't know if you've ever watched any of Funhouse's stuff.
I've pretty much just seen the highlights of Elise.
Yeah.
Although I feel like I would generally enjoy their content overall.
Yeah, I like a good amount of their stuff. But like the LA Noir stuff, I remember rewatching that, and they're playing one mission. I can't remember what it was, and the guy was like, "They were beaners." It's just like, yes, because I mean, I don't know. It's just like, I mean, in local news, white man says racism funny. Took a Lyft to his KKK rally.
Gets killed by former soldier on pot.